Hello, my name is Pam, and welcome to Pam's Book Reviews. The second book I'm going to review is by Dominica DeGrandis, and it is called Making Work Visible, Exposing Time Theft to Optimize Work and Flow. And again, the books I read have the signature look where I definitely highlight those things that I found useful and valuable. I saw this book advertised on LinkedIn. I'm telling you, there's so much value at looking at LinkedIn and following people. I think we all know it's important to make work visible as agile practitioners. There's so many things that take time away from what you do or plan to do. And without seeing that information, one, you can't prevent it from happening if you need to. And two, you can't tell an intelligent story about what happened over whatever your time box is, whether it's a week or two, whether you're looking at iterations or sprints or throughput. Somehow you're tracking how much work gets done. And we need to know what happened. I can still remember years ago, I was assigned to work with a wonderful administrative team. And they asked me to sort of use some of the Scrum Master and Scrum skills to help them. So I remember looking at how they were tracking their work, and everyone kind of had these huge lists with pads with lists on it. Some were using a spreadsheet, but it was kind of all over the place. So I brought them together, and we went from that into just doing post-its on a table. And I mean, there were a ton of post-its on this table. From there, we put them on a whiteboard and we planned out sprints. So the product owner was able to say, these are the highest priority items. This is what I want you working on. We got together every day and made updates. And then whenever someone got tapped on the shoulder to do something more important, they were able to share that, bring it to the product owner, and get it prioritized. Once we got used to using the whiteboard, eventually we put them in one of those tracking tools. But to see the sincere gratitude, the light bulb moments, the hugs, the tears at finding a better way to work, it was just a great experience. And this is why I do what I do. Dominica talks about the 5 thieves of time, which include, too much work in progress, unplanned work, etc. Most of us are aware of these thieves, and I love that, thieves of time. It's great categorization. Um, but how do you make those things visible? I've worked with teams and companies, and you know what we do? We spend a lot of time talking about who's responsible for putting that work in the tool. And, it just never ceases to amaze me because when I've worked at high performing teams, they don't do that. They just do it. Maybe the person, the developer who discovers it or finds something, puts the title in, and then the PO may come behind to add some details, maybe the tech lead, maybe me as a scrum master, I threw some stuff in there. And then we make sure it has the right classification of what kind of work this is. But spending the time on just getting it in and working it is much more valuable than trying to figure out who's responsible for it, in my opinion. In this book, we get practical tips on how to improve flow. How do we capture these thieves and find a way to reduce their occurrence if we can? Lots of exercises that show how you can reveal this work. And naturally, we talk about queuing theory and metrics. I love the different types of boards and the way she shows this work. While we may all be creative, it's nice to see how someone else has figured out a way to work this. And by calling this out, hopefully you can avoid those quarterly meetings where you hear a stakeholder and you hear them say, why wasn't the original planned work done? Clearly, they have no idea about the changes, the pivots, and so forth. It's a very uncomfortable situation to be in. How predictable are your teams? They're not? Maybe you could pick up some tips from here. I know I did. Thank you for this book, Dominica, and thank you all for the great feedback you have given me on my book reviews. Stay tuned.